Christmas tree, oh Christmas tree.
Oh yeah, bundle up. Hey guys, welcome back to Vlogmas day 11. Woo! I love the number 11, so I feel like today is gonna be a lucky day. I slept in majorly this morning. I was so hyped after the Empire State Building tour last night that I could not go to sleep. It felt like I had had a ton of coffee when I hadn't. So I stayed up till 1 a.m., which is like not what I do. And then slept in till around 9:15, again, something I never do. And so as a result, today feels like the first day that I'm kind of behind on Vlogmas, even though I have been doing this like 2-day ahead schedule, which I really want to keep up for as long as possible. Tonight, I'm going to see the Nutcracker. I've only seen the Nutcracker in Denver, at the Nebula Theater in Denver, which it was a beautiful production, but it was also when I was like in 5th grade. I don't know why I'm having this memory right now. If I went with one of my friends' families and I got a Diet Coke during the intermission, and it was so refreshing and good, and I felt so fabulous with my Diet Coke. But it'd be so cool to see it at the Lincoln Center, like the actual New York City Nutcracker. So looking forward to that tonight, and I only have a few hours until that, a few coaching calls, and I've been editing all morning. But I thought it would be fun to have a conversation about astrology and share my favorite astrology resources for this Vlogmas. This comes up because I've been into astrology my whole life. I love it. I am a Leo sun, Sag moon, Sag rising, Mars in Cancer, Mercury in Leo, Saturn in Aries, Pluto in Scorpio, Venus in Gemini, North Node in Libra, if anybody knows what that means or cares. Clearly I know a lot about astrology, and it's been a topic recently because energy has been funky this month, especially this week. I was talking about it on my Instagram story yesterday, like everybody's been feeling really tired. We have some interesting influences right now, like Mercury square Mars. Totally fine if the sun's like gibberish to you, but I just wanted to share some of the resources that got me started in astrology and that I actually use frequently to see which transits are going on in the sky collectively, and then how that impacts the personal transits that I'm going through. First, I'm going to start with like web applications, like things that I actually look up on my laptop that aren't apps, and then we'll get into apps. The first one that I love is astro-charts.com. And when you go onto their website, you're able to, first of all, just look up your own chart, which you do with your time of birth, date of birth, place of birth, so you can see things about yourself, like which placements you have. But I really like to use this one for what's called transits, like personal transits. So what I'll do is you go over to the tab, you click personal transits, put in your information, including where you are currently, and then it will show you which transits are happening in your chart and which ones are coming up. So maybe there's like a certain transit that's within 3 degrees of exact, but it's coming, and you can tell that like this Thursday it's gonna be exact. It doesn't tell you what the transits mean. I know enough when I see certain planets to like kind of understand what's going on, but what I just like to do is click on the short-term transits, the long-term transits, see when they're coming, and then I'll just Google what that means. So I'll be like, okay, what the heck does it mean that I have like Saturn squaring my Mars? Actually a really cool way of like validating the things that you're going through currently. Especially over this last year, I've had a lot of like weeks or phases where I was struggling, and seeing that it was at the mercy of things going on in the sky, and therefore I wasn't actually at the mercy of anything and everything was happening as it should, brought me so much faith and comfort. Another really good app for this that does basically the same thing for seeing personal transits is called TimePassages. So I'll just go in, I'll see what my horoscope is for the day, which by the way, I hate the word horoscope because I feel like it's been so overused. Think about going into a magazine saying, I'm an Aquarius, what does that mean? And then it applies to everybody who's an Aquarius. Like, no. It's so much more specific than that, but it will show you like your daily horoscope, and that will explain to you the transit. So you'll be able to click on, oh, right now I have like my moon squaring Chiron. What does that mean? And it will read it to you. And then also say the exact minute that it goes exact in your chart. These are really cool things to track as well. Like maybe something big happens, so you're able to go back and look at your chart at the time that it happened and be like, whoa, it's so interesting that that was happening when I got that email or when I had that hard conversation. Like I see how these influences are happening. The other website that I really like is Cafe Astrology. It's very accessible. A little guilty pleasure that I like with Cafe Astrology is the compatibility calculator. So you put in your birthday and then whoever it is that you're interested in, you put in their birthday. And it actually does a really good and thorough job of explaining the compatibility and the synastry between the two charts and whether there are positive aspects and or challenging aspects. And I found it to be accurate time and time again. It's also interesting to see if there's like recurring patterns with the people you're attracting into your life. Obviously you can do it for friends too, and just see like, wow, I really attract partners who like I have this sort of compatibility with. Super interesting to look at. On to the apps. So I mentioned TimePassages, which is great. I recently got this app called Nebula. I'm very new to it, so I can't speak to it very much. But one of my dear friends, Kaylin, recommended it to me. And the reason I like Nebula is that it gives you an overview of your year. So depending on the upcoming transits or the transits that have just happened, the way that it impacts your specific chart and what that means for you. Then it will also show the week, it shows the month, it shows standout days, challenging days. It's just interesting to see. It's kind of fun to play with. My one qualm with this app is that sometimes the horoscope is negative, which I don't really like, because I do think like if you go into a day with the expectation that it's gonna be bad because a horoscope is saying like, oh, there may be challenges today. Like on Saturday, the day of my performance, the app said that I may receive negative feedback, and so I went into the day thinking like, oh my gosh, people are gonna say I'm a bad singer, which didn't happen, at least to my knowledge. However, if you can look past that and just like take that with a grain of salt and instead use it for like the very high level astrological influences element of the chart, I think it's fascinating. It also shows your biorhythm, and it also reads your palm, so that's pretty cool. Then my favorite astrology app ever is The Pattern. You may have heard of The Pattern because Channing Tatum made like this video on Twitter and it went viral a few years ago, and so many people downloaded the app that like it crashed for a few days back in 2019 because it's so accurate with like what is going on in your life and who you are. It like with incredible detail. My one qualm with the app is that it doesn't tell you which transits it syncs up with. So the whole concept is that like there's a pattern to what's going on in the sky. So it'll tell you something like, I am actually coming out of right now this very long pattern that started for me back in June of 2020 called softening and opening up. I don't know what that means from a planetary standpoint. It made a lot of sense. I'm coming out of it now, and that was starting June 2020, right when I started on TikTok and started to have videos blow up until now, like very much like softening and opening up to who I am in the world. But it was a little bit unclear like where they were getting that information. However, it's like always very, very accurate. It also says I'm in powerful healing right now, and for me that started end of March, like early April, which is exactly when I went through something really major that required a lot of healing. Still in the thick of it, but I'm almost out of it. And again, it's just kind of validating and comforting that what's happening in the sky is aligned with like what's happening in your life, and it's all for your highest good. So I know I'm not crazy as I'm going through this. It's because it's supposed to be happening in like the story of my life. So epic. So it will also tell you your pattern in terms of things about your personality. So for me, I have one called like restless or thrill seeker. I didn't even really know that was a huge part of me, but reading through the description, I was like, this is kind of me. I do like to live on the edge. I like to have experiences that are not like the status quo. I despise the idea of being ordinary or mediocre. And it talks about the full spectrum of that. Like taken to an extreme, I could literally like go skydiving daily, but I don't do that. I think I'm more of a risk taker in terms of like how I put myself out there. So it manifests differently in different people's charts. What's interesting too is that the pattern app will tell you like what you need to feel in relationships, or like the relationship struggles that you go through, the career struggles you go through, or like where you would thrive in your career or within relationships. And it really just helps you get to know yourself more. Again, with all of these things, I think it's about taking what resonates, but just like I was saying in the gift guide, like the best gift that you can give someone else or yourself is the gift of self-knowledge. And really feeling like there's a structure to who I am, and I have very specific gifts, like I am who I am for a reason. The thing that I love most about astrology is that the very second that you came into this earth, that snapshot of the sky at your time of birth represents your authentic energy. And it's like a blueprint for your life and for who you are, and none of it is accidental. Like the very specific second you were born was intentional. There's a lot of people who don't believe this, but I do. I believe that we chose our lives. I believe that beforehand we were like read a contract, we read a soul contract, we were talking with Fred, and we're like, yes, I want to live that life. I want to play that character for this lifetime and make sure my soul comes through, like try to line up as much as I can, like this identity that I'm taking on with my soul. And as a result, I think you chose your time of birth too, because you're like, sure, I'll take on like these challenges, I'll take on these opportunities, I'll take on these good qualities, these strengths, these weaknesses, and I'm gonna work with them because they're working for me rather than against me. So I love astrology. I hope you guys check out these apps, these websites if you haven't already. Let me know which ones are your favorites and if there's something that I missed, because I'm always looking for new like apps and websites along these lines. If you have a recommendation for me. Okay, it's time to get to coaching. I have 2 back-to-back coaching calls and then have to rapidly get ready to head over to the Lincoln Center area. We're gonna do a really early dinner. Like, we have a 4:30 p.m. reservation, so that we can get to the Lincoln Center nice and early. Very excited for the Nutcracker. Maybe, you know what? I think I'm gonna need to get a Nutcracker for my apartment because I don't have one. 'Tis the season, honey. Okay, I just finished my last coaching call and I'm ready to head to the Nutcracker. We're gonna go to dinner at the Smith beforehand. I'm in love with this shirt. It feels like a very Nutcracker shirt. I don't know how to explain what that means, but let's go. My coffee clock says 1:22. My granddad. Oh, that just made me so happy. I just got home and I'm gonna make some of that amazing candy cane peppermint tea that Leslie sent me. The Nutcracker was so good. Honestly, I feel like next year, because I want to go again for sure, I need to go when I'm not so overwhelmed and burnt out. I was admittedly not very present with watching it because it was like the first time since Vlogmas started that I was sitting staring at something with like nothing really to do. And the dancers were so talented, the set was so beautiful, but I was having just a hard time focusing because in my head I was like, oh my gosh, what do I need to do? What do I need to get done? Podcast episodes, need to text this person back, need to get back to that email. So it was kind of chaotic, but it was also wonderful, obviously. I'm so happy we went to see it. And then at the end, when we walked out, it was snowing, as I documented. I got some snow in my hair, so it's looking a little bit rough, but the best reason for a blowout to get a little bit messy. And I'm just gonna honor the fact that like my mind is racing and I'm very, very tired and call it a night early. I feel like I have a habit of saying I'm gonna go to sleep early, which I notice when I watch back my vlogs or edit them, and then it's like famous last words because I end up staying up pretty late, but I really am going to tonight. And along those lines too, I was thinking the whole time, man, I need to like touch up my makeup when I get home and film a TikTok where I'm like talking to the camera. Those take way longer, and I just want to do like a really cute, easy TikTok where I'm not talking, but I'm in my PJs, the Christmas tree's in the background, maybe I'm like holding the cup of tea, I haven't figured it out yet, and it just is like a really quick 7-second TikTok that says an encouraging message. I have a few that I've written down. I always have encouraging messages that I jot down, so I'm just gonna see what I've written down in the past. So I guess for my macaron and musing, I'll open my advent calendar tomorrow because we all know it's just gonna be candy, but maybe a sugar plum in honor of the Nutcracker. What's coming to mind for me as the musing is let it be easy. Stop holding yourself to this ideal that things have to be so perfect. I was even just thinking like, man, I'm getting overwhelmed with the Vlogmas right now, and then I was like, Haley, like, why do you have to have videos that are like 20 minutes long? Like, you can do a 10-minute video here and there. Or I have my shelf was making some wild noises. I have those 2 days off that I allotted myself. Like, if I need to take that tomorrow, I should just take that tomorrow. Like, allow it to be easy, allow it to be fun, don't take yourself so seriously. And it's true that a lot of things that are done from just that like pure vessel of inspiration and fun and just like ooh, I just got an idea, let me like do something about it quickly and creatively, has been what's been the most successful for me in the past. So that is my musing. I will film myself for accountability check making the TikTok with a beautiful background. Nothing like some mint tea to calm your nervous system. and then I'll be off to bed, and I think I'll feel so good tomorrow morning for day 12. That's just about the halfway point. That means we're halfway to Christmas Eve, people. And another big fun day tomorrow. Okay, good night, guys. The sky looks so cool right now. An expert place to set up the camera. The real trick is figuring out how to film myself on TikTok and film myself for accountability while not having this camera in the frame, but also showing you.